What is up, guys? It's me, the ALE Double X Prince. And before I start this video, I want to give a quick shout out to a specific YouTube channel. This guy is a personal friend of mine. This guy has made it big last year. For a while. Like this guy's been around definitely for a while. I met him at my old job. Before I ended up leaving that job. But the guy loves to do his editing. He loves to do a lot of film, mainly connected to Marvel and DC and comics like that. More particularly Spider-Man. He loves Spider-Man. I mean, even his picture like is of Spider-Man. But the guy is an amazing guy. He has a great talent of doing just trailers and fan-made editing videos. His name is Ramen Edits. He's a YouTuber here, and if you're a non-wrestling fan, you probably won't follow him. But the guy, I guarantee you, if you watch some of his content, you'll see that this guy could go places. I just saw his recent video called "Let There Be Love," where he took clips from previous movies with the song "Let There Be Love" by the Oasis. Beautiful video, incredible work from the guy. I recommend you to check it out. I guarantee you, you'll love it. Now, onto my review. I've wanted to do this video for a while, but I had to do a lot of research and try to like remember what the hell happened. But I did get a request from a YouTuber, not a YouTuber, a friend uh, who has been around my life for years, and she's like, "You love wrestling so much. I'm shocked you've never been to a wrestling event." I was like, "Actually, I have. I just don't go to a lot. Obviously, not anymore because of COVID. But I went to a live event years ago. My very first one, as far as WWE goes, my very first live experience from WWE was this episode of Monday Night Raw. It was Raw March 15th, 2010. This was the night where we did the epic contract signing between Bret Hitman Hart and Vince McMahon, or so we thought. Because let's be real, that match at WrestleMania 26 was garbage, but the build-up was really well done. I will agree with that. And WrestleMania 26 overall had a great road to WrestleMania, and I was so glad to be a part about it. I remembered. So just to give you a background as to how I ended up getting these tickets, my grandpa, who I don't know how the hell he could afford three tickets, one for me, my sister, and my dad. We all went and we had a good time. But around this time, I was a kid. I still loved watching wrestling. My friends at school loved watching wrestling. Everybody was excited, and then people were asking, like, because I remembered I had school, and I was required to wear a uniform, but I had a long sleeve T-shirt, which people were like, "Why is he wearing a long sleeve T-shirt?" Because I was putting my uniform over a John Cena long sleeve T-shirt that I used to own. Obviously, I don't own it now because I was 11 when I had that T-shirt. But yeah, and then in my backpack, I had this World Heavyweight Championship. I bought this. I think I got this for Christmas, not that far apart. So I was like, I definitely gotta take this to the show. And I remember my dad didn't really follow wrestling all that much, but he saw me dressed in this outfit. I was holding this. My dad's like, "Oh, they're gonna make fun of him," and sure enough, he was in a big surprise because everybody was dressed like this. It was a great time. My sister, even though she doesn't like wrestling, she probably never will. She had somewhat of a good time, to say the least. But this was my very first live experience, eh, in on a big live event. My very first one, as far as the WWE goes. But I'm gonna give you my review of the show. I got a chance to rewatch it, but first, before I start anything, uh, let me just say that this show did have WWE superstars prior uh, to the airing of Raw, and I remember these matches too. I remember because for starters, Jillian Hall was singing. Everybody remember that annoying ass gimmick? So we had Jillian Hall and Katie Lee. They were talking shit about the Bella Twins, and then Jillian Hall started singing the Bella Twins song, got major heel heat. That shit was like great. So the very first people I ever see on a live Raw was Jillian Hall and Katie Lee. Wow, what a great way to start off. But then the Bella Twins come. I was like, the Bella Twins better win. And honestly, the only thing I hated that this match was long as hell, but this really showed that if you were on Superstars, the Divas division mattered. But if you're on the main card, you don't mean shit. That's the honest truth, if I could tell you. But yeah. Then we had a 6-man tag team match featuring Mark Henry, Christian, and Yoshitatsu versus Jack Swagger, William Regal, and Zack Ryder. Uh, this was before Zack Ryder became the big star the previous year. The following year, he'll become the United States champion, probably one of the most over guys on the roster. But this was a fun little match, I remember. But all I kept thinking to myself is that looking back at it, it's like, wow, Jack Swagger was on WWE Superstars, and then 2 weeks later, he wins Money in a Bank and becomes the World Heavyweight Champion. So it's not a big thing to say, but kind of a shame that he eventually holds this. Pretty disrespectful to that championship. Eventually, it did lead to we the people. So not a complete loss, but yeah, even Christian was in Money in a Bank, and he was already qualified for the match. So I don't understand why they put Money in a Bank guys on the card. I never got that. But we finally kick off the show. The pyro goes off. Those pyros are loud as shit. If anyone's been to a live event, those pyros were loud as fuck. But this was around the guest host era, and I got lucky because the guest host for me was Stone Cold Steve Austin. You can never go wrong with Stone Cold Steve Austin. He cuts a promo, starts drinking beer, talks about how he's gonna sign the contract between Bret Hart and Vince, and it made sense for Stone Cold Steve Austin to be in the middle of that. He hates Vince McMahon, his character, the character Vince McMahon, and he had a big historic rivalry with Bret Hart in 1997. So it was cool for him to be like the one in the middle of this. Obviously, this would have been better if Bret and Vince were a lot younger at the time. Yeah. Also, they did this. This was a habit where they did something called WrestleMania Rewind. They started this back in 2008, I want to say, where they would give us matches that happened at WrestleMania before. And I remember when they were hyping this up the previous week, I remember watching TV. It's like, oh shit, what am I going to see coming on Raw? And then it said John Cena versus Big Show, Shawn Michaels versus Chris Jericho, and Randy Orton versus Triple H. I was excited for one of them. You could probably guess which one it is. But yeah. So after the Matt, after Stone Cold's promos, John Cena comes out. They kind of look at each other, and then they walk out. And I think that they dropped a big opportunity here. How cool would it have been? Because when Batista cut his promo on John Cena, how the torch was passed from Stone Cold Steve Austin to you, not me. It should have been me. I think they dropped the ball. If they knew Stone Cold was gonna come, why not bring out Batista, talk shit to Stone Cold, and they have John Cena? They cut promos back and forth. And that would have been honestly one of my favorite moments of all time, being there live. But they dropped the ball. That really should have happened. But anyways, we move on to the show, and John Cena faces the Big Show. The match is going on normal. Keep in mind, the Big Show is the Unified Tag Team Champion at this point. He doesn't even show up with the belts. I swear to God, he never did. But as John Cena was gonna hit the "You Can't See Me," Batista's music hits. Batista just stands there, just distract John Cena. I don't know why John Cena got distracted. Batista didn't do jack shit. But Big Show steals the victory. He wins 1, 2, 3, and there's that. It was kind of silly that John Cena got distracted when Batista didn't do jack all, but who cares? I was excited to see Batista, the Big Show, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and Batista. For me, that was a big highlight for me when I was there live. But what can you do? Um, During commercial breaks, they show you promos of, or they show you pictures of them traveling. They did show a lot of tribute to the tree moments and a bunch of pictures. They were promoting a movie called Damage, starring Stone Cold Steve Austin, which is why he was the guest host this week. But halfway through it, Evan Bourne had an entrance, so that means that Evan Bourne's real life entrance was during commercial. And then Sheamus comes out. The match was about to start, but instead Sheamus just beats the crap out of Evan Bourne. Keep in mind, Evan Bourne is also had just qualified for Money in a Bank, so not a great way to make your Money in a Bank talent look all that good. I'm just saying. But then Sheamus cuts a promo on how Triple H has been the guy that he's wanted to face. Honestly, a really legit promo from Sheamus, and I really didn't hate the feud for Triple H and Sheamus. It made sense, and it because realistically, Sheamus was set to be the next Triple H. Thank God that never happened. Let's all agree with that. And I don't hate Sheamus. I never really had a problem against Sheamus, but I could agree that the guy was pushed way too fast, way too soon around this time. But I do see why Vince had an eye on the guy, because the guy, first of all, the guy's ripped, the guy's built. He is a shitty baby face. We could all agree with that, but when he tries his best, he looks the part. Like, hell, this year we're arguing that if Sheamus faces Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania, we could not complain. That sounds like a good match to have. Sheamus versus Drew McIntyre, especially just the experience that these guys know. And they're actually really good buddies, so this will be a great match to do. Um, Maurice defeats Kelly Kelly. I totally forgot this match, but then I went back to rewind, and this was just setting up a big tag team match between the women. So I can't wait to see what they did. Which went to that awful hog splash from WrestleMania 26. Anyone remember that? Then we had Shawn Michaels versus Chris Jericho. Now, you guys did not get to see this on camera, but if you watch the show, you should know that Chris Jericho was actually getting cheered by the crowd, because Chris Jericho is very loved in San Diego. This is the honest truth. If you're in San Diego, you know Chris Jericho and you love Chris Jericho, heel or face. But Chris Jericho was getting semi cheered, but um, during commercial, Chris Jericho was getting heel heat because he was talking shit about San Diegans and how they're overrated, that no one gives a shit about them. He was getting some legit heel heat. People were booing him. He taunts the crowd. There's actually a guy in the crowd. I remember this. He's like, "All of you are a bunch of losers, especially you." And then we all looked at the guy, and he's like, "Oh, come on, why me?" It was hilarious. It was awesome to see, Chris Jericho as a heel at this point. The match is going on. It was easily the best match on the card, but it wasn't great. It was good. This wasn't the match of the night. We'll get to the match of the night. Let me explain. Um, anyways, um, Chris Jericho, beat gets out of the ring. He gets counted out. Around this time, they were building up Edge versus Chris Jericho at WrestleMania for this bad boy right here. Edge comes out. First of all, how epic was it to hear Edge's theme song? One of my favorite theme song of all time. Edge's theme is just awesome. On this day, I see clearly. Awesome theme song. This was kind of it was a good feud. It made sense how, two former tag teams, after Edge get injured, Chris Jericho's thankful for it, and Edge is like, screw you. It made sense, but then they constantly were hyping up Edge's spear. And I'm sorry, but Edge is not meant for the spear. It's always been for the heavy, like, big guys. Like, Edge should have had like the Executioner, which is basically the glorious DDT from Bobby Roode. Um, that should have been his finisher, but the spear, I guess, is his finishing move. But yeah, Edge attacks Chris Jericho, spears him, and then he says spear, and that's the end of that. Um, So I was a witness of Shawn Michaels' second to last television match in history, because the following week he faces Kane in his last ever televised match. But anyways, moving on. Batista comes back. He's gonna have a match. I remember. Um, so because I already know I've been following wrestling for a long time, I saw them setting up the fireworks. So I was already like this because my ears were hurt because the pyro was loud on the opening segment to Raw. Uh, I remember Jack Swagger at the time. He used to do a push up, a bunch of push ups leading up to a bunch of pyro. So I was already like not loving the pyro. Shawn Michaels and Jericho had pyro, so I was like, oh, I see them setting up the pyro, but I was like this, but I was like, wait, hold on, Batista. Keep in mind the commentary, you can't hear it when you're in live, they're alive, but Batista comes out, and at the time he wasn't doing his pyro because he was a heel, so I was like, who the hell is he facing? And then they played Kofi Kingston's music, like, oh, and then I was like, this, boom, boom, boom. I really always wanted to do that live, but the whole time I was like this just because I was young, I was 11. But yeah, Batista beats Kofi Kingston, quick little squash match. The following week, he qualifies for Money in the Bank. Yeah, they're not making this Money in the Bank match look good. That's the honest truth I could give you. Um, Triple H and Randy Orton are set to feud. Triple H's entrance live, if you guys ever seen it, it is awesome. Around this time, Randy Orton was turning into a babyface, but people were booing him. Uh, but which made no sense because earlier they were cutting a promo and Randy Orton was getting cheered, but I guess because people loved Triple H more at the time. I don't know what the hell the deal was, but yeah, I remember the crowd um were booing him. I was just like, I thought he was a face. I guess I was young. I didn't know how this stuff worked, but anyways, Triple H and Randy Orton, they have their match. It gets interrupted by Legacy, Cody Rhodes, and Ted DiBiase. They attack him. Triple H tries to defend him, and then Sheamus out of nowhere comes with a brogue kick. And then the following week, they set up Triple H and Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes, Ted DiBiase, and Sheamus in a 3-on-2 handicap match down the road. Um, Gorgeous George gets entered into the Hall of Fame. My dad actually knew who the hell this guy was. He didn't follow wrestling all that much, but he knew like he was a massive Tito Santana fan. If you ask my dad, like one of his biggest like favorite wrestlers is actually Tito Santana. I'm not making this up. He idolizes Tito Santana. Um, but we get onto the contract signing. Vince McMahon and Stone Cold Steve Austin, and this was actually a pretty good segment. Oh, one more thing. Um, so while they were setting this up, obviously they were on commercial. But while they were setting this stuff up, just to get people distracted, they had a CM Punk of all people who was on SmackDown at the time come out. He cuts a promo on how he's gonna like embarrass Rey Mysterio. Um, and Rey Mysterio is just a screw up. Around this time, he previously just embarrassed him in front of his family when it was Aaliyah's birthday. If anyone remember that story, uh, where he's creepily singing "Happy Birthday" to Aaliyah. But anyway, CM Punk is cutting this vicious promo. I think this is the night we all became CM Punk fans. My dad and my sister. My sister, like I said, she doesn't follow wrestling, but she knows some of the wrestlers, and she actually respects CM Punk just for him as a person and a talker. This is the honest truth. But anyways, we get to the Brett and Vince contract signing. It was awesome. Just Stone Cold telling Vince McMahon off like, "Sit your ass down." It was great. He announces that Stu Hart will be in the Hall of Fame. That was a great moment for him because it's the reason why Bret Hart came back in the first place. And then it ends with Stone Cold walking out. He's like, Vince, I need to tell you something. Oh, wait, Brett will tell you. And then you'll see Brett with the cast off. And it was just a way to set up that Vince, it was a way to set up Vince, to set Vince up because it's like Vince McMahon was willing to face Bret Hart, but he was injured. So he didn't mind it. So this would have been honestly one of the greatest matches of all time. Though honestly, this is one of the best built matches going into WrestleMania behind the obvious Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker. But yeah, I think this is definitely one of the weakest episodes on the Raw to WrestleMania. But it was still a solid show for me. I had a fun time watching. But if you guys actually went back to watch the Road to WrestleMania 26, the build was great. The card looked stacked. The card looked like it had so much potential, but we all know where that ended up. Yeah, some matches were too short, some matches were way too long, and the only thing that was truly great were the last three matches, which are Edge and Chris Jericho, Cena and Batista, Michaels and Taker. Those are the only three matches to go watch at WrestleMania 26. Those are the only three I give a shit about. Those are the only matches you should give a shit about. But anyways, the show ended. It was great, and then so after the show ended, we were like expecting CM Punk to come back out. Um, like, and then we went to the concession stand. We bought T-shirts and and masks. We bought shitty ass Rey Mysterio mask. I would have it out up here just to show you guys what it looked like, but over the years it broke because it was one of those plastic Rey Mysterio masks. But then all of a sudden we heard Justin Roberts say, "This the following match is scheduled for one fall." So we all ran back out, see what the hell happened, and CM Punk comes back out. And then I was like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna see Rey Mysterio versus CM Punk." And sure enough, Rey Mysterio had that grand entrance. I didn't give a shit that the pyro was going off and it was loud as shit. I didn't give a fuck because I was gonna watch Rey Mysterio, my hometown hero, have an entrance and have a match, like a true gift for San Diego. Um, Now, if you're wondering whether or not the match was good, even though you guys didn't get to see it live, the match was literally a longer version of the WrestleMania 26 match. It ends the exact same way where Rey Mysterio throws CM Punk into Luke Gallows, setting up the 619, 1, 2, 3. By far the best match on the show. The match was a little bit longer. It had more time, unlike the WrestleMania 26 match, and that's what happens when it's pre-taped. They when it's not taped at all, they have time to like, get creative and take as long as they want. That was awesome. So if I were to tell you the truth, the match that I saw live was better than the WrestleMania 26 match because one, it was longer. They had more time to tell the story. You had the crowd chanting 619. They were teasing the 619 throughout the match. Like every time he was about to hit it, either Serena or Luke Gallows helped CM Punk get out of it. It was a brilliantly told match, but what can you do? I got to see it. I loved it. So can't really complain about that. Anyways, that was my very first live experience on a WWE show. 11 years later, and my thoughts have changed. I will never forget that was my first live experience, but I truly loved it. It was an amazing show. Um, would you ever go back and watch it? I don't think it's one of the best episodes. I don't think it's one of the greatest episodes of Monday Night Raw, but it was great for me, if that makes sense. Anyways, it's me, the ALE Prince. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Check out Ramen Edits. Pretty sure he'll be watching this video because I told him I'll be shouting him out in my next video. But until then, I'm out.